How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and this is how to safely corner on wet roads. So right now this might be the worst case scenario for a whole lot of people. I'm on a brand new bike with brand new tires. The road is wet. It's chilly outside, only 60 degrees. It was raining all day yesterday here at Palomar Mountain and everywhere. So the roads are going to be trashed, wet, dirty, rocks. Who knows? I didn't even go up it yet. This will be the first time right now. But either way, even if you are in this situation on a brand new bike with brand new tires, riding on the twisty mountain roads just after a rainstorm, you can still do it safely. And these are the ways on how to do that. So one thing you could do, you could put your bike in rain mode. That means it drastically lowers the sensitivity of the throttle. It ups the sensitivity of traction control and wheelie control and your ABS and all that stuff. But I know what you're thinking. Well, what if I don't have a cool bike that has all these different riding modes? Okay, that's fine too. All this technology is simply secondary. The most important thing is you, the guy in the mirror. Your technique and what you do is the most important thing. My bike is telling me my pressure is too low, so to stop and check it. So one thing you could do, like what I did, I lowered the pressure down. So that way I have a little bit more grip because it's chilly outside and it doesn't have the best traction. So that's one thing you could do. But that's not really a thing. You can leave your pressure or stock pressure too, that's totally fine. The most important thing, number one, is you gotta be smooth. And what I mean by being smooth is slowly on and off the throttle, slowly on and off the brakes, and slow with their lean angle. Don't do anything erratic or jerky or abrupt on any of the controls whatsoever. That is the most important thing. And to prove it, I'm actually going to put the bike in Dynamic Pro, which means I went into Dynamic Pro and I changed all the sensitivity to the least intrusive possible. It's the most power, the least sensitive to ABS, the least sensitive traction control. The thing could wheelie. It's the most sensitive full power of the bike there is, right? So just to prove my point, you just got to be smooth. That's number one. Well, I might as well just tell you all three. So number one, be very, very, very smooth. Number two, predict the unpredictable. It just got done raining all around yesterday, right? So the road's going to be trashed. There might be branches mid-turn. There might be rocks in the middle of the road. There might be dirt. There might be gravel, sand, mud. Who knows? So predict the unpredictable. Number three, you have to remain calm. No matter what happens in the turn, no matter what you see around the corner, freaking out and being abrupt and grabbing the brakes or stabbing the throttle or doing whatever is just going to make everything worse. So everybody write this down and remember, the more relaxed you are on the handlebars, the more control you have. The stronger you grip and the more tense you are, the less control you have of the bike. So keep that in mind. And to really get used to that concept, go take dirt courses. Learn to slip and slide and feel the bike wiggling underneath you and learn how to recover while staying calm. You do that, and rain and rocks and weather and whatever else, it won't even bother you because you're so used to it on dirt bikes. So I highly recommend take dirt bike courses, SoCal Supermoto, Moto Ventures, American Super Camp, Rawhide Adventures, anything you could do to go play around in the dirt and get used to slipping and sliding flat track. It's all extremely beneficial. That being said, let's go ride. So Dynamic Pro, the most of the bike I could possibly get, and it's only 59 degrees outside, but I do got my heated grips on, so at least my hands are toasty. So one thing people worry about a lot is their lean angle. Like, oh, should I hang off the bike a whole lot to reduce a whole bunch of my lean angle because I have less grip? You can, but keep in mind, just going slower will automatically reduce the lean angle. If I'm going through a corner at 30 miles per hour, the bike only has to lean a little bit. If this was dry and 80 degrees and I'm going through that corner at 50 miles per hour, the bike needs to lean more, obviously. Otherwise, you're not going to make the turn. So just slowing down will automatically reduce the lean angle. You don't have to slow down and hang off the bike super far. You ain't got to do that. The only time I would do that is if I'm about to run over something. So say, for example, this big left-handed turn right here, right? Let's say I'm going through a turn and there's a big old tree branch right in the middle of the turn. Now before I hit the tree branch, I don't want to go over it straight, I don't want to go over it leaned over. Just like right now, I am hanging off the bike to keep the bike upright because there's a bunch of leaves and dirt and blah, blah, blah. But if I'm about to go over a tree branch, I would do this. I would stand the bike up to go over the tree branch and then go right back into the lean. Because when the bike is upright, right, your suspension works best to deal with the tree branch or pothole or dead squirrel or whatever it may be, right? So if you're about to go through a whole bunch of slippery stuff, then get the bike up as much as you can. Just like I just did in real time without even thinking about it, because there's a whole bunch of leaves and wet stuff and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, keep the bike upright, add a little bit more body position, aka taking away lean angle, right? That's the whole idea. But even though it's wet, even though it's cold, brand new tires, brand new bike, the bike in the most sensitive throttle position and the most power I have of the whole thing, and least sensitive ABS track, it doesn't matter. The main thing is you. What is your technique? If you turned off all the technology of your bike and you would be afraid to ride up this road like I'm doing right now, even though it just rained yesterday and it's cold and a new bike and everything else, if you're afraid to do that, well, that says a lot about your technique. It means you need to practice more, need to learn more. And that's perfectly fine. Everybody needs to learn something. We could all improve, myself included. We all have stuff to learn. It's never ending, right? If you ever feel like I finally learned everything, well, you should probably sell your bike, because you are a risk to everybody if you don't think there's nothing else to learn. Another thing to do besides predict the unpredictable, really look as far as you can ahead so you have more time to prepare for what you think is going to come up, right? So if there's a tree branch or dead squirrel or whatever else in the middle of the road, well, the earlier you see it, the more time you have to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? So now the cement on this particular road, it just changed from the rough cement that I just was coming up. Now it's all repaved. So it looks a little bit slicker, but I think the grip is actually a little bit better because it's all done and repaved, and you can see stuff a lot easier. Like you can see branches, you can see little piles of dirt, you can see, you know, rocks, you can see whatever else way better. So, and then look at this, dirt, dirt, dirt. So just ride in the tracks of the vehicle in front of you. The best way to go through dirt is to avoid it. Don't go through it in the first place, right? And one of the best ways to do that, if you don't know the road, or if it's a blind turn like this, just ride in the tracks of the vehicle in front of you. Because cars are going up and down this road, so where would the car tracks be? Where would the tire track be? And if I ride there, well, most likely the tire's going to take away all the dirt, or a lot of the dirt, and it's going to be slippery near the yellow line. It's going to be more rocks and slippery stuff somewhere in the middle, and it'll be more slippery on the way edge of the white line because cars aren't driving there. And since it just rained, just predict there's going to be dirt and rocks and mud and everything else, right? As long as you predict that, you'll be good. And now you can see when the road is drier, like I have little dry spots, it's like, oh yay, the road's dry. But when it's wet, you know, everything is wet. It's just, it is what it is. So being smooth, slowly on and off the throttle, slowly with the lean angle, slowly with the brakes, nothing crazy. Predict the unpredictable. In case something happens around the corner, there's a branch, there's whatever, you gotta stand the bike up right away like I just did. Whatever you gotta do, just predict there's gonna be something crazy around the corner. And number 3, try your best not to freak out. Try to remain calm and stay loose on the handlebars. If you're tensed up and really squeezing the handlebars to death, it's gonna make everything worse. Trust me, everything gets way worse the harder you squeeze the bars. That's a big old dry corner right there, but I didn't know that because I didn't know that. It's my first time going up. But now we're going back to wet. And I'm actually riding through the clouds. I'm actually going to ride straight through the clouds. So I'm sure it might even start raining. Or it might be way more wet the higher I go. Who knows? And it's getting colder. Now it's only 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So but either way, same thing, right? It's just a degree of application. I'm still on the brakes right now. I'm trailing off brake pressure. Now I'm off the brakes. I cracked open the throttle to maintain my speed. And now I'm rolling on the throttle slowly. I'm not going to snap on the throttle and make the bike skid out, right? That's ridiculous. So you just got to be smooth. So the lower the traction, the more smooth you have to be. You see what I'm saying? If you have extremely good traction, well, people could get away with a whole lot more. You could get away with a little bit more aggressive throttle inputs, a little bit more aggressive braking, a whole lot more lean angle. That's for sure, because the traction is so good. You see what I'm saying? But the lower the traction, the smoother you have to be, the more you have to predict the unpredictable, and the more calm you have to be, the more relaxed you have to be with less traction. You see what I'm saying? So that's something you have to practice. And how do you practice that? Well, do exactly what I'm doing. Go for a ride just after a rainstorm, and absolutely put your attention on being slow on the throttle, off the throttle, slow on and off the brakes, slow with your lean angle, picking the right line, trying to avoid as much crap as possible. Right? If you see something, a little bit of gravel, a little bit of dirt, that's okay. You know, you just kind of go through it. You have to go through it. What are you gonna do? Stop the bike in the middle of the road? No, you have to go through it. Try to keep the bike upright so it has as little lean as possible as you're going through the super slick stuff. That's what you need to do. But stabbing the brake, freaking out, you know, stomping on the rear brake, whatever, it's not going to be beneficial to do anything abrupt. And right now I'm only using the front brake. I'm not even using the rear brake at all. You can if you want to, but my fingers have way more sensitivity on the brake than my big old boots and my rear brake would. So I'm only using my front brake. But if you want to use the rear brake or both brakes or some combination, do whatever you want to do. But I like the control and the feel and the power of everything, the front brake, and that's my go-to brake for literally everything except for low speed turns. You could take my rear brake off the bike and I wouldn't even care unless I'm doing low speed stuff. You can see it looks like a little bit of crap in the middle of the road. So I'm going to avoid going over here. I'm going to avoid the stuff. It looks like it's kind of drying up, but I'm kind of going through the clouds, so I can't really see as much. Right, just be smooth. Slow it down. Be smooth. Predict the unpredictable. There's trees, so you can imagine there's going to be leaves underneath the trees, right? Little things like that. Paying attention to your environment. Like right now, there's no trees on the right-hand side, so this is going to be pretty clean, except for stuff that gets blown around, like rocks or whatever. But there's not going to be leaves directly dumped, falling directly off the tree. So you just have to be predictive of your environment, see what's going on, try to look up as far as you can, and just be smooth, people. There's so many people that get used to riding only when it's perfectly sunny and clear and awesome grip, and that's how they learn how to ride. But when the traction drops, they crash very, very easily because they don't know any other techniques. They don't realize, wow, I don't have as much traction. I need to do things different. I have to change. I have to be adaptable to the conditions that I'm currently riding. Maybe I have to go slower. I have to be a whole lot smoother. I can't use the same lines. Obviously, you can't go the same speed unless you just want to crash, right? Maybe if I'm about to go over a pothole or something like that, I need to add more bike position to take away that lean angle, right? And right now it's just getting colder, 54 degrees, and I'm actually kind of chilly. Like the wind's going through my perforated suit, so I'm actually kind of chilly. But at least my hands are warm. These awesome heated grips. Look, trail braking's the same. On the brakes, slow down until you're comfortable. Crack it open to maintain your speed. Looking up, looking up, looking up. There you go. The bike is pointed. I can start to accelerate slowly. I'm not going to stab on the throttle. So it's not too hard to ride around in these conditions doing what I'm saying. But if you don't have any dirt experience, if you don't know how to be smooth on and off the throttle, if you're afraid of the bike wiggling or going over mud, you're going to be extremely afraid. So I want everybody to comment, yes, you would ride this bike in these conditions right now without any fear. Or if you're honest with yourself, right, I would go through it. I'd borrow your bike and go through it, but I'd be a little nervous. And just be honest with yourself, and it's okay. You don't have to act like you're a tough guy online, right? You could be honest with yourself. Would you be nervous, or would you be perfectly okay doing what I'm doing on my exact bike? I'm gonna keep on rolling up the mountain. I have, I think I'm about halfway up the mountain right now. Then I have to go back down the other side. But yeah. So these are the three, or not the three ways. Look at this, perfect timing. So I'm going to slow down, stand the bike up, go through it. I don't want to have any lean angle going through slippery stuff, and then go right back through. No big deal. So these are all the ways to safely corner on wet roads. So go back, re-listen to it, take some notes, and more importantly, the next time you have the opportunity, it's a little bit wet, a little bit dirty, right? Go out there and practice, and be totally aware of what you're doing, and do everything with intention. Do everything with purpose, all right? Thanks for watching, and talk to you guys later.